What's up, co-reporters, and welcome back to my channel. I've got some more tea on that Uche Lydia drama that is just rocking the entire Love is Blind universe. Okay, so just yesterday, I published a video. It's a big spoiler alert about how Uche is going to confront Lydia and the entire situation. Go ahead and watch that if you haven't already. But now there's a showrunner for the show who goes by the name of Chris Colin, who has gone on the record in an interview with People magazine to claim that the producers and the cast and crew of Love is Blind had no idea that this was even a thing, that Uche and Lydia had dated or hooked up in the past, and that they were just as shocked and blindsided as we are. Personally, I do not believe it. I think that they wanted to kind of up the stakes as they typically do in the reality television world. There's only so much you can do with the pods and whatnot. And so this was the perfect way to add an exciting new twist to a season that started off extremely boring. Be honest with yourselves. Was the season interesting before midway through episode 3? To me personally, no. Like when I was watching the first few episodes up until 3.5, I was like doing other things at the same time, painting my nails, looking at my text messages, whatever have you. It wasn't until this bomb was dropped that I seriously got engaged in the show. Okay. Maybe that's different for you if it is, or if it isn't, let me know in the comment section. So let's get into the People magazine interview. People magazine asked Chris, first things first, how did Lydia and Uche manage to both get cast? Is there a vetting process to ensure exes aren't cast on the same season? Great question. It's something we've all been talking about online. And Chris responded by saying, absolutely, yeah, 100%. We do a very thorough vetting process across all kinds of criteria. We really go to some great lengths, and to the best of our ability, we try to ensure that the pool of people in the pods don't know each other. Obviously, we're not infallible, and this one happened. However, it happened, and we had to deal with the ramifications of it. Honestly, if Chris is telling the truth, it means that Uche and Lydia are both deceptive people, because he's saying that when you complete the casting process, you're supposed to tell them the names of people you've been dating, hooking up with, situationship, whatever the kids are doing these days in your recent past. And Uche and Lydia were both sleeping with each other very recently, had this like, long-term situationship going on. So why did neither of them disclose that when going on to the show? Right? Because they're both deceptive. It doesn't make sense that neither of them disclosed this when they were specifically asked to disclose such information. How many people are you screwing in the span of 3 months when you're about to sign up to a show to get married? You would think that people trying to get married are going to be more serious and prudent and stop sleeping around or whatever in order to be in the right space, and stop dating around as well in order to be in the right space to get married, right? So why are two people who had this like situationship going, why are they hooking up 3 months before starting the show, meaning they already started the casting process and had been going through it, and not disclosing it? Like, sorry, but it's shady. It's giving shady. It's giving deceptive at the end of the day. So again, I could see why, spoiler alert, Aaliyah decided to walk away from the situation, because these are not serious people at the end of the day. Trying to, I think people call this soul ties or something, when like you've got like this energetic emotional connection with someone that you just can't seem to let go, and you're still like, screwing around with them just before you get married. It's weird, okay, on both of their ends. So People magazine decides to kind of follow up on that question. They ask Chris, so you truly didn't know that they were exes? And he responds by saying, we had absolutely no idea. The intention is that we have a pool of people that don't know each other. We have had a few instances in the past with people on the same side, like it's two women who know each other a little bit, but we haven't had people, to my knowledge, on the other side of the pod that knew each other. And we've never had, to my knowledge, people who have had a relationship in the past. It's just mind blowing that that was the case, and truly shocking on day one that that information was delivered to me. So again, he's confirming that both Uche and Lydia are liars who kept this information from the casting process, despite being asked to disclose this sort of information. So when People magazine asked him what exactly went down the day that production discovered that Uche and Lydia previously dated, the showrunner responded by saying, and I quote, I was sitting in the control room on day one of dating. I think we have 89 cameras in the pods, and there's lots of stuff happening. We have a big team of hundreds of crew members, and there's always somebody listening to something. Whoever was listening to Uche and Lydia's conversation, as soon as that date was coming to an end, they came over and said, these two people know each other. They had this relationship previously. We immediately stopped them, pulled them aside, prevented them from going back into the mix in the pods, and brought them to separate interview rooms. We said to them first, I don't know how this happened. This is awful. I know you've planned to be there and you've gone through this whole process, and now you know each other. I don't know how we can continue with this in this experiment, and I know that sucks. They were like, you mean you're going to send us home? We said, I don't know how you can continue. And they're like, we want to continue. Again, these are separate conversations, but basically they're saying the same thing. We want to continue and we want to be here and we're really serious, each of them said. We have no interest in dating the other one. Listen, these are lies. They're not serious because they didn't disclose this information. And Lydia did have an interest in dating Uche. It's just she actually asked him, can we start back at zero? It's him. He's the one who turned her down. Anyway, he also says both of them spoke very glowingly of the other. Both of them said it was kind of an on and off, but no interest moving forward. We really want to find somebody that's committed to this. So we said, if we were to allow you to continue being part of this experiment, knowing that you are really passionate about being here, we will allow you to continue under one condition. We never police what anybody says, but in this case, it was the only time where we've said, we would like it if you would not reveal this information to the others. So they at least they were telling the truth when they told Aaliyah and Milton respectively that they were not allowed to disclose this information about the two of them having had a romantic or sexual past outside of the show. Hmm. So, when People magazine asked Chris, the showrunner, if there were any other parts to the agreement, he said, it was A, you're never going to interact in the pods again because you say you have no interest. And B, we would like if you just focus your time and attention on the other people who you may connect with and put the thought of one another to the side. And don't be telling people that you dated or that you know each other because that's not fair to you. It's not fair to one another. And it's not fair to the rest of the participants who might be developing connections with other people. They said, that makes sense. You're right. And we will do that. So now, when we get into why they were finally, or how, or when they were able to disclose the fact that they used to hook up to Aaliyah and Milton, the showrunner had an answer for that as well. Listen, People magazine, you asked some really great questions. I got to hand it to you. So, this is what Chris said, you guys. Around day 6 or 7 in the pods, we saw that they had really developed real feelings for another person, and they were really, really getting deeply into those connections. At that point, a lot of people started zeroing in on who their people were, if they were lucky enough to have found them. We went to Uche and Lydia each separately and told them, we don't want you to walk out of here, whether you make the choice to get engaged, not engaged, if you propose, whether it's accepted, not accepted, however you walk out of here. If you're interested in someone, we give you our full blessing to reveal that you've dated in the past if you want to. You don't have to say that. And how you say that and to whom you say that is completely up to you. We said that same thing to both of them, and you see the results on the show. So, alas, there is the information why and how they reveal the information the way that they did to both Aaliyah and Milton. So Aaliyah didn't take the news well. She was sobbing as per usual. She is quite the sobber. Milton, he was more on the quiet side, but he did ask for a break in the conversation with Lydia so that he could process all of the information. And so then when People magazine asked Chris, if he thinks that Lydia and Uche secretly knew that the other was participating on the show, he says, I honestly don't know whether Lydia knew that Uche was going to be there or Uche knew Lydia was going to be there, or they both knew about each other and conspired together. I have no idea. I know pretty much everything they said plays out on the show. And that is a hint to the video that I dropped yesterday. Make sure to go ahead and watch it if you haven't already. But in the video that I posted yesterday, we see Uche talking to Milton and perhaps even Aaliyah about his suspicions that Lydia joined the show just to follow him because she can't let him go. And not only that, but he also tells Lydia to her face that he pretty much thinks that she's obsessed with him. So again, go ahead, watch that video if you haven't already, because we go into details. I show video clips because it was all aired out in the preview trailer for the season as well. Okay. Um, now, I know pretty much everything they said plays out on the show, but I don't know the truth and I'm not an investigator, so it's not really worthwhile for me to go back in and forensically analyze what happened where. All I know is it was really shocking, and before we found a solution to keep them on the show, it was disappointing and disheartening. And like, oh my God, this is awful because you take two people who you really like and you sort of have to take them out of the mix. So, there you go. And so the producer, when asked about how, like, how it felt to watch Lydia develop a really tight sort of bond with Aaliyah in the pods, knowing what they know about, like, the dating history and stuff. He said, to be honest with you, from my own personal standpoint, I had no idea that that was happening. Again, there are 89 cameras in the pods. And when I'm in the control room, normally what I'm watching, if I'm watching something, I'm normally watching dates. It's hard to keep track of everything. So he had no clue about what was going on behind the scenes there. And so, alas, so the showrunner is saying that they had no clue, which points to the idea or the fact that Lydia and Uche were both being very deceptive and not very genuine and wholehearted in their quest to find love by refusing to disclose a very recent actual romantic encounter. Okay, so again, congratulations to you, Aaliyah, for allegedly, seemingly walking away from this, dumpster fire, these dumpster fires of people. Although we do see in the preview for the new episodes that are set to drop soon that she ultimately comes back and does a sit down conversation with Uche. Hopefully he doesn't kind of weasel his way back into her heart, but you truly never know. He seems like a man on a mission trying to get his woman back, and that he will do and say anything it takes to win her over. And it seems that all is going to come at the expense of Lydia and Lydia's reputation and potentially Lydia's relationship as well. But we're going to have to watch and see how that ultimately winds up playing out. So, you guys, do you believe the showrunner when he says that that no one had any idea, despite the vigorous background testing and questioning they do, that Lydia and Uche had dated in the past? And if he's telling the truth, what does that tell you about Lydia and Uche and their intentions when they decided to sign up for the show? Make sure to let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. Also, also make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already for more Love is Blind and general pop culture videos as well. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.